Hello everyone, welcome back to Screen to Screen. I'm Andrew and this is Chris.
I'm Chris.
And today we're doing FTL Faster Than Light. It's a fun game.
It is.
Could be an even more fun movie.
It might be.
So, Chris, you had a little pitch for this for me. Why don't you run that by me?
Oh, way to put me on the spot. God. So, my thinking is Faster Than Light. It's a game where... Oh yeah, back out here. We have our little people here on the ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have names. They have, like, abilities that they rank up and they get better as a crew. And that's, like, the joy of the game, is, like, making these little people better at their jobs so that you can be a better player and get through situations like this situation we're in right now.
Okay.
Where we're jumping in here and this guy is like, either you're going to bribe us or we're going to try and be in here and attack the pirate. Which is...
Right.
We're just going to go ahead and attack the pirate. So, as a person playing the game, these are just little shapes that I use as resources.
Right.
And as I get better at the game, I do good work. But I'm thinking Last Starfighter. That's what I'm thinking.
Like a Last Starfighter kind of situation, like someone who's playing the game FTL gets like
someone that's been playing this game a lot. They're really good at it, and they are beamed up into an alien ship. And like, we've been watching. You're really good at this game. We need you to take care of the situation for us.
Okay.
But the twist here, the thing that makes it interesting, is that they're good at this game because they're just taking these little shapes and moving around.
Right.
But when they're beamed in and they're put in charge of a crew, they get to know these people. They get to know Willow and Ares and Jose. They're no longer just stats, because in the game, like, you'll make choices. Like, all right, I'm gonna let this guy die,
right,
so that I can do better. And that'll be tough for him if he gets to know these people. Like, he knows that one of these people has a family. It's a weird alien family, but it's still a family.
I feel like I want to make one change to this.
All right.
I think I can kind of keep your idea completely intact, but I feel like The Last Starfighter has been done already.
Yes.
But I think if we keep this in universe, like, maybe it's someone who's like in this world, he's done like a simulation, and he's like really good at it. And now I can't remember what the background is of this game. Is this like a Federation ship, or are these kind of like a rogue team?
If I recall correctly, we are a Federation ship, and like a rebellion has happened. And it's like the opposite of Star Wars. Like, we're running away from the big bad rebellion.
So maybe like this is like they have like a shortage of troops, and they got to pull someone who doesn't have the groundwork in the field, but is very good at strategy.
Yeah.
And I feel like everything else you said can remain as is. I just feel like Last Starfighter, like, I don't know, I feel like that's its own gimmick, and it feels like this has a lot more, because otherwise, like I feel like you mentioned this in like the Mario episode we did. If you start the character from another world, then you artificially create a situation where they need to get back to their home. And I don't know if that's necessarily the main conflict of this is get away from that horde of ships.
That's true.
So I do like that idea of like strategy, but what is the human cost, or what is the...
Yeah. The human cost of war.
Yeah,
is
but
the thing.
we're not dealing with all humans, but yeah, whatever the equivalent is, the
you're right. Our phrase
the
is
being cost of war. Like I don't know how to say human without saying human.
The cost of life in war.
Yeah. The life cost of war. Yeah, but I think that plays well with the game, because you as a player, you are you're sacrificing characters. But it's also lost to you as a player. Like, I like that guy. He was good at flying a ship or something.
Yeah, but that's the only reason why we like them. It's not because he has a good sense of humor and something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I find that interesting if you're playing a game and it's like, here are these resources, but also, like, this guy's really funny, and you like spending time with him. Like, I always think that's super interesting.
Now, this lends itself, I think, pretty much to... I think this is like a well-trodden kind of thing for our show, but I feel it works in this kind of game. Is it seems like it's that sort of journey, meeting people along the way kind of movie.
Yeah.
It seems like there's one clear goal. They got to get to the base at the end of all the portal jumps, and then the Act 3 is the big fight.
If I recall, like, we're delivering something important. Like, that's why we're on this journey.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. And even if it's not, it's a good good idea.
Like, we need you. Like, we have the most important mission for the Federation. We got to keep away from the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it gives us a motivation for these people to keep moving.
Yeah, it's again a bit like reverse Star Wars.
Yeah, reverse Star Wars.
It's sorry, we need to get the Death Star plans back to the Death Star.
Yeah,
in a way. So this is a game consisting of pretty much 100% like space battles. Though there are little rescue missions along the way, and there are stores, so we definitely want to work those in.
Yeah,
I feel like a character we'd meet would have to be in one of those maybe rescue missions, like in a quest or something.
Yeah, like we could definitely pull from the game. Like, you find a broken spaceship, and like you have always the choice. It's like it's dangerous to try and help this person. Like, we get to watch our characters make those choices. Like, our guy will be like, because we want to start off. He's an analytic man. He doesn't really consider the cost of life. So he's going to be kind of cold and calculating at first, but then he gets to know his crew, and then we watch his decision-making process change over the course of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, later on,
the character arc,
that's real dangerous to go in there. It's like, but we gotta go in there. Like, these are lives.
It kind of feels like The Last Jedi a little bit. Like,
a little bit.
Like Poe's sort of like. It's more about, he wants to get the advantage, but Leia's like, hey, hold it back. There's a human cost to this. I don't know, like that could be kind of something to play around with, and that would be like, that's the character arc. By the end, maybe during the big battle, there's like an opportunity to destroy the big ship, but it would kill his entire crew. There's probably something there where like there's another way. Let's do this. Once again, I feel like every single time we make one of these movies, it always comes down to teamwork. we always do teamwork in some form or another. There's always teamwork.
I mean, when you're telling a story and there's more than one character, they work together.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's a game about building a team. Like, I can't not do that. I'm sorry, everyone.
I don't even view this as kind of building a team. I view this more as like one person's like growth, going from seeing everything as just value statements to seeing it as being beyond that. Because like in war, what's an artist? Like, they're nothing. Yeah. They're not contributing to the war effort, but in a more abstract sense, like, an artist is lifting spirits. It's good for morale. Like, people are happier around things that are aesthetically pleasing.
Here's an interesting thought. So we have a character who's very calculated and is sort of, I don't think they're so callous as that they'll just like send people to their death just because it wins them like, one extra little advantage.
Yeah.
I feel like the very first battle that person's in would be the character arc, and that can't be it,
Yeah.
Like, oh, these are real people. I feel like most people would sort of get the hint, like, oh man, I can't just send like Charles, like my co-pilot to get blown up. Like, it would be like I don't think the arc is necessarily like there's a human cost to this. It might be more like, how do I deal with that?
Yeah.
Because like maybe
because it's inevitable that people will die in war.
Yeah, and maybe they're all willing to do it. Maybe they're all willing to serve.
Oh, they're definitely like everyone's invested. Yeah, they're on these ships and they know they might die.
And maybe it's sort of he's like. He's a calm, calculated person, and then in the middle of this, he's got to make these really tough decisions now. And right off the bat, it's too much. Like he thought he'd be good at it, but it's sort of like, I don't know how to make these choices. And it's maybe it's sort of one of these things where like the arc is, how do I become a good leader? Like how do I weigh these really tough decisions and become someone who is good for everyone?
Yeah.
So I mean I feel like that's a good arc there. Just to kind of put things, it's also resources like money too, and like scraps. Like that's another thing to kind of consider. But I'm jumping around ideas now.
But I don't think we need to worry too much about the resource management. Like, that's definitely like...
Well, it ties in. Like,
it does.
Like, if you're the person making the decision.
Oh, that's true.
You know?
Like, you are looking at situations where, like, they're running low on fuel and they bump into a civilian ship.
Yeah,
Do we steal their fuel and leave them for dead kind of situation? Because those are dilemmas that pop up in the game.
It could be like, we need fuel, and they find a civilian ship, and it's like, oh, we'll just ask them for some.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, no, we're not giving you our fuel. And now it's like, oh, this is a real tough decision now, because like the fate of our civilization rests on us delivering this MacGuffin, and these innocent people won't let us do it. Like, what do we do? You know, like these are the decisions that we're in a sense putting the player of the game or making them the protagonist of the movie.
Yeah.
So that I like that.
That's why originally it was a Last Starfighter situation, but as you said, it's a lot easier if we just put it in the world to begin with.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of keeping things as in-world as possible. Right now, as far as I know in this game, the Rebellion is just like this faceless sort of like bad guys.
Yeah,
like,
no, they have no backstory.
What are they rebelling against? Like, is this maybe like, you know, like the Civil War, and like the rebels are like, hey, they're doing bad stuff.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why I wanted to go with Last Starfighter situation is you take someone who has no knowledge of the world, so you're able to lie to them very easily. Because now, like, you could have them be like, you know, we're fleeing from these rebels, and we gotta deliver this thing. It's very important. You're the only one that can help us out. That's why the game was made. Yada yada yada. And then later on, you could have like that twist, like, actually, you know, the rebels are trying to stop us because we think that slavery is awesome. Well, but like, you can't really do that in this situation.
Well, there's you could kind of do that, but I also feel like you could make the rebels the bad guys. Like like the rebels could be like a faction that's like kind of starting to take, like, I'm coming back to Star Wars, but it could be sort of like the First Order. Where they've kind of like, you know, you have the Republic, and then you have like this like fringe group that starts gaining a lot of power. So
that's true.
It could be like that. But then again, you also do the other way too, where you can have the double cross there, where like they've been believing the propaganda their whole lives, and maybe like that's the realization. It's sort of like, now I'm the leader of this ship, but I'm also the leader of like what I believe is right, you know, and maybe. But then you wouldn't have the big fight at the end. So you need to keep it to the game, I feel like.
I feel like it's okay if they're just a faceless, bad organization. Like, we can add to it.
We don't need to make them faceless. Like, we could have their reason for rebellion being like a bad thing. Yeah. Like, you know, maybe they think like, you know, we've gone too soft, you know. Like, I don't think we necessarily, unless we can come up with like a cool idea, I don't think we necessarily need to in this episode figure out what they are. But I feel like you can sell I feel like Star Wars has made Rebellion like the good guys
automatically. Yeah,
and I feel like there's definitely a way to say like, hey, the established status quo is working. Like, we're in the future and we have a lot of cool ships and stuff, and like, you know, maybe we've done a great job. Maybe we've, you know. Maybe this is a sequel to Civilization that we did.
Yeah, that's true. It's a sequel to Civilization.
You know, like maybe the people in charge are really doing a great job, and the rebellion is sort of like the worst of. I don't want to use the word humanity because it's not all humans, but as shorthand, I'm going to use the word humanity. Maybe it's like, you know, the worst of humanity kind of like rearing its ugly head back again after. You know, we live in a time here where everything is kind of good, and now, you know, it's those little the worst of us have sort of kind of bundled together and are trying to take down what works. At its core, this is a let's get the thing to the thing show or movie. You know,
like it's definitely a Star Wars movie in many ways.
It's a Star Wars or Star Trek kind of thing. Like it's Star Wars at its. It's like if the plot of Star Wars took place in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like the technology seems very Star Trek-y. You know, it's very sci-fi, but like the sort of like let's go get them. Like let's round our friends and unite. That's a very like a Star Wars kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, this movie. I mean, this movie could like kind of marry the two audiences together. You know, you have the romanticism of Star Wars and the technology of Star Trek. I mean, that could be what this is. But in the end, we have I mean, let's just take a look at what we have here. We have the protagonist who is, the logical, simulation person thrown into, like, in a moment of crisis, it becomes a captain, sort of like through, like, they have too many ships and not enough captains, and like, it's like, hey,
like, we need the strategist now to be a captain.
Yeah, or maybe like, maybe this has happened in Star Trek, but like the captain like dies or something, and the next second in command has to jump in.
That's definitely happened in
didn't that happen in the new Star Trek?
Yeah.
I mean, that's good.
I mean, like, the idea is we're trying to tell a story where someone learns.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a simple matter of like moving numbers around to win a war. Yeah. It's like these are costs that have real weight and significance, and like, the cost. I keep on saying humanity.
Isn't this just like the plot of Star Trek? Like the was it 2009 Star Trek?
Maybe.
Well, whatever. It's a good movie. But I think, like, I feel like that works here, where it's like the real captain dies or something, and now the like the second in command has to step up, and they have to learn how to be a good captain. That is the plot of Star Trek.
Yeah, we should. Again, I'm thinking it's more like.
I can't be the only movie to have done that, though.
No, it's definitely not. So again, I'm thinking more along lines of you've seen. Try to think and also fight a war.
Ooh, that's the tagline.
There you go. Edge of Tomorrow, you have a guy who is not a warrior, he's like a propagandist, and like we need you to do more propaganda at the front lines, and like that's the opening of the movie, is him being thrown in a situation.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm thinking this is someone that's renowned for doing a really good job, but he's doing it like behind a desk.
Yeah.
But because this is such an important thing, they need the best mind there to adapt to like situations.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be radio silence, they can't be in contact, so they're taking him and putting him on the ship, which is never done before. And he's getting to meet these people that he's been moving around like chess pieces.
And it's an emergency situation.
Yes.
Like, they're getting ambushed, and there's like the plans that they had are like destroyed. Like, this is not the ideal situation.
Definitely.
But they got to work with what they have. The fate of the Republic, whatever we want to call it.
Fate of everything.
The fate of everything rests on this person who never really wanted to be a captain.
Exactly.
And then, and so the idea is, like, bring this thing to the base and then blow up the big ship at the end. Like, I feel like that's got to be Act 3. I mean, that's the game.
Yeah, fighting, like, it's like the capital ship of the rebellion or whatever.
Yeah. I feel, like, that last board, I feel like, is all Act 3. Like, jumping around, like,
Yeah.
So...
And we could definitely have situations in the movie where, like, right now, I'm going to be jumping into the warning area.
Yeah.
Like, we could have a decision that's...
Yeah.
We gotta save those people, but it's only gonna cost us time. Like, there's no benefit. But, like, this is...
Yeah.
Like, post-Act 2, we've already had the character learn, like, it's not just about me and this ship, it's about the people we're trying to protect, kind of situation.
I mean, yeah. This does feel like Star Trek 2009 meets Last Jedi.
A little bit, yes.
Like, this is someone who's always thinking through, but is not thinking of, like, the human cost.
Yeah, this is a man that has, like, rows and rows of medals, but he hasn't won them ever for combat. It's always like, your strategy got us through a pickle.
And now this character immediately has to consider the cost because he's making friends on the ship now.
Yeah, like, now for the first time.
And it's not about him learning that lesson, it's about him dealing with it.
Yes.
It's like, all right, I'm in my first battle. Immediately I see that there's a human cost here. But now, how do I be a good captain? Like, I thought I was a good captain. But I'm not, because I didn't consider my emotional feeling toward these people on the crew, and I can't just I just can't do that. Like, I can't sacrifice them, But sometimes, like, maybe I need to, and like maybe they're like, you have to. Don't worry about me, and like one of those things. Like,
yeah, one of those moments of self-sacrifice.
You're like, beam me aboard the ship. I can take him. Like, but there's no oxygen on that ship. It's like, I don't care.
They breathe a different kind of atmosphere. You can't do that.
So yeah, like, there's like a lot of little things there. It just seems like it's a movie of difficult choices, though. I feel like it can't be entirely that, though. There's like, like finding like the ships, maybe someone's got space madness. Like, isn't that like, that's part of the thing there? there's like saving people along the way, and
I think just like the emotional core needs to be the cost and learning about that. But like the narrative of the movie doesn't necessarily need to revolve entirely around that. Just our main character's journey is such.
I think the cost of war is the takeaway of this game, because there's like a literal cost to every decision you make in this game. Like I think that's very fitting. Do you save these people? Maybe you get attacked if you save them, but then you might get another member of your crew.
Distress calls are, I think, more often than not traps in a lot of the sectors.
A lot of times, and sometimes it's just like not worth it. Like sometimes, like, hey, you saved me. Here's like 5 scrap. Like, great, thanks.
Like our guy has an important mission. He giant spiders. I'm gonna send a crew member on there, and now Jose's dead.
Yeah, but the other thing about this game is if you don't do any of these side missions, you're not gonna have the scrap you need, and you're not going to be able to power your ship. You can't beat the game. So
back to 2 goddamn crew members.
So it is. There's a lot of stuff like that, and I feel like a lot of the crew's gonna have to die off if we're like.
Like, our guy needs to, like, really befriend people and be like, but he was my buddy.
So, all right, if we're going to kill people off, we have to do it, I'd say, right at the end of Act 1, someone dies. I feel like right at the end of Act 2, someone important dies. And then in the Act 3 battle, someone's got to die. like these are, like, the points in a story where you can kill characters off. Like, someone's got to redeem themselves at the end, and, like, crash their ship or whatever, or beam aboard. Like, I don't know. Like, there's like a lot of little places here where sacrifices need to be made. Like, that's what the game is. It's like you're sacrificing people, you're sacrificing your resources, but in the world of the game, like you'd be sacrificing your crew.
Yes. Yeah, the thing is, I thought this would be a bit more of a challenge, but we're really, like, we've already banged out most of the
because like the game lends itself very much to, hey, let's get this thing to this thing and then blow up a big thing at the end. Like, that's how movies go.
It's pretty true.
A lot of action movies are that.
Like,
so it's not hard to adapt this one.
It's very true. Like, FTL is a roguelike, and roguelikes are, a lot of it is you tell a story in the sandbox they give you. Like, it's the encounters you have that when I'm like, oh, I had this great run because things happened.
Right.
Like, we need to do that, but for, like, a movie now. Like, what's a really good run of this that would make for a very dramatic movie?
That's right.
It's just with, like, this humanity added to it with a main character.
Yeah, it's basically what you're doing is you're building the ideal game of FTL.
Yeah.
But while you're building that ideal game, you're also putting in these little, like, interpersonal stories, and like this thing kind of writes itself. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, you picked a great. I really like that theme because, like, it's a game about making decisions and sacrifices. And if you were actually doing this, if you were actually, like, in the ship, it wouldn't be as easy as it is to play this game. So I think that's a great. That's like a great spin on the game. If you made it about just a bunch of people in a ship and, like, fighting space battles, it doesn't quite fit the game as well. But like that kind of thought about, like, what do I do? Like it's all about the captain's put in the player's seat. Having to make these choices. I don't think this is going to feel like Star Trek in that sort of how Star Trek always has these sort of like there are these, like, morality tales where it's like, well, because we're in space, we get to look at this, real life issue from another lens. This doesn't feel quite like that. It does feel more like Star Wars. It feels like we're in a epic war and we have heroes, but the main hero has an arc they have to go through. Like, that's not Star Trek. That's Star Wars. And I feel like we're blending the two worlds together, and I think that's kind of a fun idea. Like,
I think so too.
I'm sure there's other movies that have done that, but
or TV shows. Like, I haven't seen some of the. I hear a lot of people saying The Expanse is really good. I haven't watched that.
But like, I think the setting of Star Trek, the heart of Star Wars, that makes for a fun movie. I think
so. It brings, like, the fun technical aspects that Star Trek brings to the table, but, like, the people stories that you're really looking for.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to say Star Trek doesn't have that. It just has different ones. They're a lot more philosophical. They're a lot more like, now what if, if you had a species that, spoke in metaphors? How does that work? Like, that's not what this is about. This is character arcs.
Yes.
This is not about, like, philosophy. It's about character arcs. And I think, that's what this one is. Which I think, that fits.
Yeah.
And one scene I think we gotta have is they are in a battle, they're in over their head, but the FTL the drive isn't ready,
Yeah.
And they gotta they're not gonna make it, and they gotta hold off the onslaught, and then finally, now! And they zoom off, like
right before the ship blows up.
Yeah, that scene has to be there. Like that happens so often to me near the end of the game. I keep finding myself in a situation like that, where it's like, oh god, please, just move, I have to get out of this battle. So yeah, that's fun. I mean, the ship can lose oxygen or something.
Yeah.
Like all these little pitfalls. Like, there's a lot of stuff that could go wrong. I feel like there's got to be some downtime. So I mean, like the shop, like they could go to like a planet where there's like a shop.
Oh, you definitely got to have like a cantina scene, and that is where the shop is, basically.
Like that's where like the writers of this movie get to be creative. Is like, this game only shows the ship, but like they do go to planets and they do.
Yeah, we get to really play. Like, if you have someone that's good at design, this is like, hey, go crazy, dude.
Yeah. I mean, like, it is. There's really nothing to pull from here, so you can make up all new cultures wherever you want them to look like, and like the different like shops you go to. I love how like you go to a planet and there's one shop.
Yes.
Or like, oh, there are no stores on this planet.
It's not even a planet. Like, you need to find the one store in a whole galaxy.
Yeah. Right. So I don't know. That's pretty funny, but
I guess like how you translate that in our logic here outside of a game is that's the one non-hostile shop in this whole galaxy. That's the one place willing to deal with you because they know you're trouble.
Or if it's like, oh, I know a guy who can get us this part, maybe it's that. It's like one of the crew members like, oh yeah, I know a guy.
Like we're dealing with a situation where the rebellion is this huge expanding threat. It's like it's literally shown as an expanding bubble behind you.
Yeah, right.
And the people on these planets you're visiting know that. Like, I don't want to deal with a Federation person. If word gets back,
yeah, right.
I'll be in big trouble.
Things are looking like they're going to go the other way.
Yeah.
From the very beginning of the game to the last level is Act 2.
Yeah.
Act 1 is where we get to be creative, I suppose, is where we introduce our characters, we kind of establish the world, who the rebels are, who the Republic or Federation, whatever they're called, who they are, the stakes of this whole thing. And then...
Well, maybe we should talk about Act 1 a little bit, because that's where a lot of our...
Sure. In that case, we're probably going to have to come up with what this, war is about.
I mean, maybe.
Alright, so the player controls a spacecraft capable of traveling faster than light. It belongs to the Galactic Federation, which is on the verge of collapse after losing a war with an exclusively human rebel faction.
That's what I thought. I figured it was space racism.
Spacism. The player's crew intercepts a data packet from the rebel fleet containing information that would throw the rebels into disarray and ensure Federation victory. So it's like the plans of the Death Star, basically.
Yeah.
The goal is to reach the Federation headquarters, waiting several space sectors away while avoiding destruction from hostile ships or by the pursuing rebel fleet. So it really is like it's reverse Star Wars.
Sounds like.
So in that case, all right. So this, what I just read, that's Act 1. We establish the Galactic Federation. We establish that they're on the verge of collapse after losing a war. So it's like The Last Jedi again.
Yeah.
Like, that was FTL. We did a little movie that's sort of halfway between Star Wars and Star Trek. It is a little bit of Ender's Game 2 in there, and hopefully enough of the actual game to make it actually part of that same universe, to make it an adaptation.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments if you would have done this differently, or if there's another game that you want us to do, or if there's some other movie or TV show or whatever that you want to see us adapt.
Yeah, we want more ideas because you guys have good ideas, and it really helps us out because we get just dive right in, basically.
We're waiting to hear from you.